All right, so after you've created your news desk with your logo, you turn it into Google Classroom and you drop it into the desk folder on shared drives, I want you guys to go into the quotes folder on shared drives as well. So look at that and see that there are a few quotes that have been turned in as PNG files. So I'm going to open this one up. And it says, when you get tired, learn to rest, not quit. And this was designed in Google Slides. Let's look at some of the other ones that we have here. This, I believe, was done in Pixlr. Again, you can use whatever you want to make this as long as your words are popping out and they're easy to read. Now, what I would suggest you do is go on Google image search or just Google and type in maybe funny quotes or inspirational quotes. Have fun spelling that one though. Inspirational. Look for some quotes that interest you. You could get a funny quote, you could get an uplifting quote, a quote that an athlete has said, or something from a TV show or a movie, just as long as it's clean and school appropriate, of course. So once you find the image of your quote or you find it online, you would want to design your own screen for it to be shown on the news. So you would take one of these and save them and then design your own in either Google Slides, Google Drawings, or Pixlr, whatever you want. I'm going to show you how to do this in Google Slides. So I'm going to go to Google Slides. I'm going to start with a blank presentation. I'm just going to call this quotes because maybe you want to design more than one quote. And then do a new slide. Now, instead of using plain text, maybe for your title, you can use word art since you guys already know how to do that. Now, I know word art looks great and all, but you would not want to use word art for the quote itself. When you have multiple lines of text, multiple sentences, you want to use plain text for that, but just make it look good. The word art is really meant for a title or just something to grab the viewer's attention at the top of the screen, but not for the whole message itself. So what I'm going to do is delete this title box because it is just plain and lame text. So I'm going to click on the blue edge, hit the delete or backspace key on my keyboard, go to insert, go to word art. I'm going to type in quote of the day, properly capitalized here. Now remember, you don't want to use Arial because Arial is so plain and so boring. You guys are better than that now that you're like a whole grading period into editing and designing. So something that stands out or something that looks good or something that's easy on the eyes, whatever you want. We want this to be used on news. We want it to stand out. So we obviously want it to look good. So spend some time finding a font that you like that works with, whatever theme you're going with. Remember that you can add more fonts if you want to. Remember that you can do your border color, your border weight to make it stand out, but not stand out too much. You can do format options and apply a drop shadow, customize that drop shadow. Again, this is stuff that you learned that you were not to forget. Okay, it's been a little while since we've done it, but it's stuff that really makes your text pop. Probably don't want too much of a blur there. Okay, so for quote of the day, if you would like to get a background on that slide, choose a background. I might just search on Google for, that was sunset. First thing that comes to mind here. Now, if I type my text in here, if I go to Google and I type in, okay, success is not final. Look how bad that looks, okay? It's really hard to see that on here. No matter what color I change that to, even if it's white, I mean, white might not be bad, but we want that to stand out. So let me go in and make my windows a little bit smaller so I can do a side by side. Actually, I might just do this. Drop my image in. That way I can see it as I'm working with it. Okay, now I can actually see it in one screen. You could put the person who said it. You don't have to, though. But you want this to look better, okay? So to make it look better, make your text stand out and everything like that, you would want to take your text and drop it in the center through center align like that. You could then make your text bigger You could change your font to something that's, again, not Arial. It's plain, it's lame. We don't want that. You want something that goes with the mood of your quote. I'm going to do this here. Now, what you can do to make that stand out even more is you could take this box, which is a shape. You could go to your paint bucket and give it a dark color. The reason why you want dark is if you have light text, like white, you want to have contrast, so light against dark. So I'm going to choose a nice deep purple here. I want that background, that really nice sky, to actually bleed through here. So I want to go up to my fill and customize it and make it kind of transparent. So this is looking a lot better. You could even make that a little bit smaller. That way the text stands out. You want to think of it like this. Whoever is reading this on the news should not be squinting and having a hard time seeing this because you put too many distractions in there. You want this to look very readable. You can do some other things, like if you want to take your border here and add a thickness to it and add a color, maybe get a contrasting color like what you see here in that skyline. So maybe something like that. That's not looking too bad. That actually looks pretty good. Now, when you come up with another quote, what you could do is duplicate that slide. All you have to do is change what it says, maybe change the color of that box, change the border color of that box, and change the background. But by duplicating it, whenever you're running in and doing more quotes, then you will have pretty much the template, the design already made up. And for each one of these, you would want to download them as a PNG and then add that PNG to that quote folder in Google Drive. Quotes. You would just go to new, file, upload, and pull in the PNG from your downloads. Okay. But if you want to make this in drawings or if you want to make it in Pixlr, that's totally fine too. Just keep in mind when you're doing this, you as the editor, you as the designer, you are finding a way to make your text pop out and make this quote look really nice. Hopefully what we're going to have is a bunch of these already made up. So we have better quotes on the news made by you guys. They look good. Once we get, I don't know, maybe like 20 of those saved in here, our news editors will go in and start dating them. So that way we know which quote we're playing on which day. And if your quote is in here and it looks good, it will be added to the daily lineup. So make as many as you want. But, if you are looking for something to do, then go ahead and start designing.